They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the change. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hi everyone, it's me again. It's Nobel Peace Prize. But has anyone connected the dots yet about the Peace Prize? Has anybody? It's incredible. It's incredible what's happened, really, about the Peace Prize. You know, there's the orange man saying it's not for me. It's for America if I don't get it. If I get it, it's for America, not for me. I won the Peace Prize, Frank. What do you mean? See, Callum. Oh, fantastic. I have connected the dots, says me old mate told you. Your old mate there, Len. Hey, Len. Evening, Frank. Evening, Lynn. And as Steve Mulholland says, I've connected the dots. Callum, I won the Peace Prize. What do you mean, Frank? I love it. I haven't been on it in here properly since that tragic 2-month loss. No, I know you haven't, mate. So. But I'm not doing any football until next Thursday. Might do one on Tuesday. Might. But next Thursday is the day I'll be doing the football. But anyway, see, we're all Reds here. But what I'm doing tonight is connecting dots and the Peace Prize. Look, this is my opinion. This is my opinion. The committee of the Peace Prizes. Now, don't forget, Trump bullies everyone. And he was bullying Norway. He was bullying the committee. He was just bullying them. And this is just my opinion. And Callum says, good luck for your health. Not doing football. You live long. I love it, Callum. I love it. And Gary says, hello, gang. You'll never walk alone. I'm sorry about this. Do you know what? This is really getting me down, you know, people. Honestly. My eyeballs. Not my eyeballs, my eyelids. Oh, it's shocking. It really is. I could do with getting a cheese grater on doing that. Oh, it's not bad. But anyway, here's the dots. There's the Dutch. Machado. Maria Machado. Now, what she's been doing, she was an activist. Then all of a sudden she became like interested in politics. She became interested in politics. But little does anybody know that she's been groomed to take over Maduro. And what she'd been on since, 2009 was the World Fellow Program. The World Fellow Program. And who was that run by? Yale University. And where's Yale University? Yes, you've guessed it right, it's in America. And they also had another particular person, a puppet, who was on that program. And he was supposed to take over Russia. And that was Alexei Navalny. See, what they do, they pick people from all around the world. And they go, yep, we love him, we love her, we love him, we love her. And then they groom them, coach them. And this Maria Machado, she's been groomed, she's been coached to take over. Now, I think this is what's happened. This is what's happened. The committee have gone, we can't pick Trump. You've only got to look what he's doing. He's still giving arms to Ukraine and money for a war. He's still doing it. No matter what side you're on, he's still doing it. So therefore, he's not a man of peace. Now what he's done, he's back in Israel. And he's already bombed Iran. Now that's a foregone conclusion, because they're going to go to war under his watch. And he's going to help them. He's also standing back in Gaza, saying nothing, denying genocide. And now he's outside Venezuela, wanting their resources. So we can't pick him. We'll become a laughingstock. Now, they haven't just done that yesterday or the day before. This has been an ongoing thing. So they've been looking around and thinking, say, well, what can we do? Because, he's warned us, he's bullying us. And so they've thought deeply. And all of a sudden, come on. Has anybody ever heard of Maria Machado? I haven't. So, you've got this scenario, and I've been a big scenario, where you have the likes of this committee scouring. And then they've gone. And then someone must have told them about the possibility, not of Wangado, who they tried to put in a few years back, a regime change in Venezuela. And that never worked. That failed miserable because no one knew him. And no one will know this person either. She was an activist. So a few might know her, but not the ordinary citizens. And she's saying she wants democracy. Well, the people of Venezuela, they're living all right. They're under strict sanctions by the Americans. Because what Maduro wants, he wants to give what the resources he has there to the people. And she's saying she wants to bring democracy. What democracy is she talking about? American democracy, where they can go around to any country in the world and have a regime change or colour revolutions with these NGOs, because they're mostly American. And if they don't comply, they can send in NATO. But it didn't work this time with Ukraine. They really thought that they could take on Russia. Now, think about this. Please think about this. If America knew that they could take on Russia, you know, all the propaganda that they're skint and, you know, they're running out of arms and they're taking tanks and things out of mothballs, which is, as you know, it's a load of garbage, absolute garbage. And if they knew, if they were doing that, they'd just go in and take it. America would go in, I'm telling you now, these are boots on the ground, go in, take Russia, that's it. What they want. But they can't. Because Russia will stuff them. They're already, if you think that they're not fighting NATO, they are. They are. They're fighting NATO. So, they're looking at this person, this Maria Machado, and they've gone, we've got one here, and she's already been groomed to take over Venezuela. So let's pick her. I've never heard of it. I've never heard of anybody. Now, I don't like Greta Thunberg. You know, this activist about, you know, everything about the environment. Stop burning wood and all that nonsense. Now, Greta Thunberg, as I said, I don't like it because one of the biggest catastrophes happened when the Nord Stream 2 was blown up. Pipe was blown up and it went all into the atmosphere. She never said a word. I was expecting this kid to come out and go, nothing, zilch. So I thought, well, you're a phony, you are. But, and there is a big but, as I said, is there anyone around for peace? Really, is there anyone around for peace? You can't pick anybody from Europe because they're all warmongers. They're all Russia. Everything's blaming on Russia. Even their economies, which is Russia's to blame. Ow. So, Russia. Just to blame by the Europeans. So there was no one there out of Europe to say, well, you know, they've gone out for peace. There's one man, and you know who he is, and that's Orban. But Orban's under terrible pressure from the EU. Now they're saying that Orban sends spies into the EU. Have you never heard the likes? So you say they're trying to get rid of this Orban. That's the latest. They sent spies. They've been spying on us. The EU. Anyway, so there's nobody in Europe. And there's nobody within the world. I tell you, there's only one fella. You might just dismiss it, and that's Xi Jinping of China. Because all he's saying is, why can't we have peace? But they picked this unknown woman to fill in the dots. So if we can't give it to him, we can give it to someone who will. If the Americans go in and bomb the hell out of and shell the hell out of Venezuela, and they chase Maduro and put her in, that's the only saving grace. That's just made up. Whether you agree with it, it's entirely up to you. Entirely. Get a cat, they'll give you your eye a good scratch. It's terrible, Callum, honestly. The lovely extras, Helen. Evening, everyone. Evening, Helen. Callum, do you think JFK's assassin was related to is that it? These bloody, to what? JFK was assassinated by the CIA. The CIA. Remember when they were trying to blame Fidel Castro? When they said, they gave him a Cuban cigar and it had a needle in it. And if he went like that, give him a light and he went, the needle would go in his mouth, bang, gone. This is what they were saying, it's just all propaganda. This is what they were saying. But there's too many now, it's become really nonsensical. And they don't talk about it much anymore. They don't talk about JFK or JFK's assassination because they know who done it. And Vitali. Hi, Frank and chat, all right? Yep. We're okay. We're okay. Vitali, thank you for joining us. And Steve Mulholland says Marina Karina Machado supported Netanyahu's, yes, genocide on Gaza. She pledged to restore relations with so-called Israel if she wins the presidency. You can't make it up. You cannot make it up. It's shocking. Absolutely shocking with these people. Toscana. Joe Franco and chatters, hope you're all well. Yes. Good to see you, Toscana, really. And Steve says she signed a cooperation with Luca Party in 2020 on political, ideological, social and security matters. She said there is democracy in Venezuela, but wants US to invade and support the sanctions. You cannot make it up. And this is the Nobel Peace Prize winner. It's up to the people, Frank. All government bodies have some nous of corruption. Callum, we vote them in. We vote them in. I never voted last year for the first time since I was 18 because they're all phony. It's a Labour Party that is not a Labour Party anymore. It's finished. It's finished. It's become a vassal to the United States, and that was proved with the Iraqi war. And Tony Blair knew that there was no weapons of mass destruction, yet he was frightening you, me, your parents, and everybody else by showing a thing and saying, you know, we could all be gone in 3 to 12 minutes. He was frightened. Never frightened me because I knew it was a load of bollocks anyway. So it's all corrupt. You know, people will vote because they believe in the lies that the parties are saying. They just believe them until they get in and they go, fucking hell. And that goes from Blair when he left, then Gordon Brown took over. And then, you know, the Cameron. And look at the state of the Tory party. And Starmer won by a landslide. Now he's below Liz Truss as the worst Prime Minister ever. Think about it. Think about it. So I won't even vote. Look, there was a lad here who, you know, friends of mine knew, oh, he's a great fella, he's a great fella. And I went, I'm not fucking voting. Because they're all the same. He'll get in and fuck off. So only last year I said, well, why hasn't he walked away? I've watched Starmer this year. Why hasn't he walked away? Because he doesn't want to. He's all right coming out and saying, oh, I disagree with all this. Yeah, well, fuck off, resign and walk out. That's what I'd do. To show my solidarity and principles and integrity, I'd walk away from him. Just say, no. And resign. But he wants his money, doesn't he? He wants his pension. And he's only been in since last year. Only. And Susquehanna says to Callum, more of a chance that they were connected to the mob. And Callum says, I know who I'll be voting next election if I'm still in the UK. If I was young enough, I'm being honest, I'd be away. I'd be gone now. I wouldn't be here. I should have gone years ago. I should have gone and lived in Italy, either Rome or Messina in Sicily. That's where I should have gone. I had a job, I had everything. Lines up. And they're the regrets. Because I had a barrier in front of me, unfortunately. So I should have been living there. And you might think, well, you know, you're a historian, you know everything. Well, you know a lot about Liverpool, and you're a Liverpool supporter. Yeah, I am. I am a Liverpool supporter. Because when I said it's only 2 to 2.5 hours over if I wanted to go to a match of a weekend and even see my family. And I had said to Tosca, all good, thank, because she wasn't well the other night, was ambidextrous. She wasn't well at all. And she couldn't go and see Shakespeare, unfortunately. Well, The Tempest. And Steve says, you can't get elected in the US or Britain if you don't bend the knee for Netanyahu and travel to Israel to kiss the wall. Well, you're seeing Starmer, a photograph of Starmer, didn't you, with the little hat on, the tiny hat. And Callum says, Stephen, yep. So you see the way it is. And that's the Peace Prize. It corrupt. Corrupt. I said if he gets it, I'm talking about Trump. If he gets it, it's corrupt. So it's still corrupt. It's still corrupt simply because they're giving it to this unknown woman. Venezuela, when you think about it. There's all the battleships on the coast of Venezuela. Who's it who wants to overthrow Maduro of Venezuela? Who's it who wants to put in Machado? Corina Machado, whatever the fucking name is. And Callum says, didn't Starmer have family in occupied Palestine? So they say. So they say. There's a fella by the name of Safir, and he's a prisoner in Israel. But he's not, he's a hostage. There's no prisoners, they're hostages. And with the swapper of these things, you know, he says he's not going. And he's a medic. He's a doctor. And it's shocking. And no one is saying a fucking ticky bit. No one is saying anything about this man being held hostage by the Israelis, being tortured. It's shocking. Could be dead, for all we know. Because you just see an old photograph of him when he was first arrested. Look, no matter how you look at the Middle East, who's behind it? We know Israel is, you know, obviously, because there's just ethnic cleansing. I always remember going back to the 80s and Bosnia and, you know, and what was going on there, Serbia. And they were saying there was ethnic cleansing. And what they were doing, they were getting the Muslims out from the old Ottoman Empire because they ethnic cleansed the likes of Croatia and Serbia. So they said, well, let's go for the goose. And, you know, they were throwing them out then when Yugoslavia broke up. So, you know, the West will go, oh, it's ethnic cleansing. Yet there's ethnic cleansing going on right now. Not a word. Not a word. See what I mean? What's the point? There's Achi. Hiya, Achi. I think it's the first time you've been here. And he says, Callum, what's the point in voting from one dog turd to it? Absolutely, that's what I said. I wouldn't vote. I've been voting for years. Since I was 18, when I could vote, I voted every election. I voted every council thing. No more. No more, boys and girls. Never again. By the time the next election comes around, I won't be here anyway, to be honest. I'll be well and truly fucking gone. Good shout, Achi. And you're so right. You're so right, mate. And Steve says, some of the idiotic left are cheering for Machado just because she is female. And it wasn't Trump. Obama got the Peace Prize and he bombed 7 countries. I said it then, Steve. I said it then. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't fucking believe it when he got the Nobel Peace Prize. I said then it was corrupt. And it's been corrupt ever since. And, you know, with this woman who no one knows, I've never heard of it. And I suppose some of you haven't even heard of it. You see what I mean? No one. And yet, they're expecting you and I to believe everything that they're saying. And this woman, she said, I want to bring democracy. And as I said at the beginning, what democracy does she want? American democracy, where you can go around with NATO, go into any country you want and regime change. And I keep going back to the coup d'etat of 2014 in Kiev, where people were killed. Burnt alive, 40 odd of them in a union place. And they were cheering. Owen Lee, even if Frank and chat, hiya Owen. Hiya mate. And Callum says, Stephen, the Liberals on the left, yep, they are so dumb, the lot of them. But what's left and right? Honestly, what's left and what's right and what's centre? I don't know what I am anymore. I was a socialist. I was brought up a socialist by myself, if you know what I mean. When I became aware of politics, I was a socialist through and through. I wanted parity for all, for everyone. I didn't want to see anyone struggle. If I could go back to when I was 18, for example, and I could see the vision of today, I wouldn't believe what I was looking at and what I was hearing. I just couldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe it. I said, no, that's not going to happen. This is a film. This is a science fiction film. This is not happening. We all know about George Orwell writing. No, it's not. It's not happening. This is not 1984. The book. This is not Animal Farm. The book. Bloody hell. Good experience and everything. But you're right there, Callum. They're so dumb. And Archie says, oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Archie. Oh, really appreciate it. That's lovely. Thank you. And the IBR. Hiya, IB. Good evening, Sir Don Franco. Hope you're spiffing, old chap. I don't know if I am. all over, yeah, Maggie, yeah. And actually, welcome to the asylum, says Owen Lee. Oh, thanks very much. Good asylum. And Callum says socialist left, liberalism, centre left, I think. That's what I mean. You see, Callum, see how confusing it's become. You see, because even people are having a go at socialists, if you know what I mean. They're having a go. And that she says, Owen Lee, I've been awake since 1998. I'm an old boy. But welcome, old boy. A year later, actually, in 1999, an American general from the Armed Forces of America, he came out with a piece of paper. And he said, there are 5 countries in the Middle East that we'll take out, and 2 in Africa that we'll take out. And it's happening, except, and he said, the last one will be Iran. And everything's come true. Everything has come through, unfortunately. Because what they wanted a big influx into Europe of migrants, a massive influx, millions of them, and they did, into Europe to destabilise Europe, because they wanted to destabilise the Middle East for their resources. And they've still got the resources. They've got the Iraqi resources. They've got the Syrian. They've had the Syrian resources for years, and even Bashar Assad was trying to get them out, and no one has helped them. No one. It's very clever the way they've done it as well. They wanted Russia occupied. They wanted Russia occupied with a war. So they provoked a war, really thinking that they could take over Russia for their resources, because they've got everything. And it never worked that way. It just didn't work out to take over Russia. So that's why they were provoking them. And they had, as I said before, a fellow by the name of Alexei Navalny to take over. No one knew him. I watched a documentary, and they would go all over. If you went all over, say, the UK, and say, do you know Rachel Reeves? They'd all say, yeah. Every one of them. Yeah. Right. And I'm talking about voters. So they went around Russia saying, do you know Alexei Navalny? He's in opposition, or he wants to be in opposition to Vladimir Putin. And they all went, who's he? Who is he? They didn't know. It's just like this. But as you said there, Stephen, about women going, yeah, we've got a woman. Because they're just thinking of a woman president. Nothing about the politics and nothing about what's behind it. Nothing against women, because I just look at women. I look at Hillary Clinton. I look at Ursula von der Vandalized. just vandalising the economies throughout Europe. She's an absolute nutter. And Kaya Kallas, Annalena Baerbock, and they're women, and they are horrible. They're all failed politicians, back in their own countries. I don't know whether you're aware of that. All failed politicians, and yet they're running Europe. They're all unelected. The bureaucrats put in by the WEF. And they're dictating. She wants an army, an EU army, so that they can take control of everything. Take control of, like, say, the British army, for example, the French army, the Spanish army, every army. And there's, after the Second World War, Germany were told, you'll never have another army. No mighty army for you, fellas. And what does Merz want to do? Frederick, I was calling him Olaf, wasn't he? I'm sorry, that was Schultz. I'm sorry, Frederick Merz wants to do. He wants to build a mighty, mighty German army. Think about it. A mighty, mighty, not a mighty German army, a mighty, mighty German army. This is what he's come up with and said. It was the last time they had two mighty German armies, 2 world wars. And yet they were told you'll never, ever have. I got a flu jab the other day. Doesn't have pain when you got to touch you. The screams are unmerciful from. I lay on my left side. Blimey, I woke up. I was in bed. Oh, blimey. And that she says, ignorance and arrogance unfortunately work together. Unfortunately, yes. They do. See, look, a man who does not think for himself, and this is Oscar Wilde, I'll just say this. A man who does not think for himself does not think at all. Oscar Wilde said that. And who's that man? A man who does not think for himself does not think at all. And that's Trump. Because he's got 2 ears. One ear, someone's putting in, and this ear, someone's putting in. And he's not thinking at all. He's thinking what they're saying. So therefore, Oscar Wilde is right. A man who does not think for himself does not think at all. Cool, eh? Jesus. I've got this fucking itch now, it's down here. Oh, it's terrible. The IBR, hiya mate. The current direction of things are so bad, would anyone be shocked if people start getting death penalties for hate speech or for simply talking facts? There you have it. There you have it, IBR. It's shocking what's going on. You can't say anything. You cannot say a dickie. You really can't. And that's the sad indictment of today's politics. That's the sad indictment of the EU. With these bureaucrats, unelected, failed politicians of their own countries, and they're telling us, they're dictating to us. And they talk about dictators. Von der Leyen is the biggest dictator on the planet. She had 2 no confidence votes this week alone, and she's still there. How? 2 no confidence votes, from one from the left and one from the right, and she's still there. Remember when she cancelled Kalen Georgescu's win? He was going to win the Romanian presidency because he preferred not to give any money to Ukraine or arms, but to look after his own people. And she cancelled it. An unelected bureaucrat. Then a fella took over named Simeoni. But he had the same ideology as Georgescu. And she stopped him from becoming president. It was impossible for him to lose. Simeoni. A couple of days later, he got beat by a person who he was that low in the polls, and he was about, so as someone said, as this analyst said, he was about to have 2 countries to vote him in. Yet he got in. 2 countries to vote him in. Yet he got in. How's that possible? Excuse me. Salute. The likes of you, me, and we get caught for everything. That's a great shout, that IBR. Really is a great shout. Good shouts tonight, actually. And actually says the Bolsheviks took out the Russian royal family, and now the Saudi royal family are about to take our king under a different guise. Wakey, wakey. You wouldn't know, actually, but when Charles was a prince, and it was our birthday, it was our 800th birthday here in Liverpool, and I was asked to take him around St. George's Hall, and I said no. I said, no, I don't want to fucking take him. I said, we're fighting since 1989, April the 15th, 1989, the establishment. Anyway, I had to relent, so I took him around. And the thing is about him, though, he knew lots about Liverpool, you know. And I'm not just saying that. And I said to his PR, I said, has he read up about this, you know? He went, no. He said he knows. He just knows. I couldn't believe it, really. But anyway, that's by the by. And Steve Mulholland's people voted for Thatcher just because she was a woman. This is what's going on with Machado now, today, with the women in Venezuela. Nothing against women, you know, but they I don't think they know anything about what's going on, say like in the European Union, or they know anything about Hillary Clinton or Victoria Nuland or that Yellen one. They know nothing about that. Albright, you remember her as well? She was horrible there. Albright. Think about it. Yellen. Albright. And actually, The ravens will be released from the tower under our current king. Couldn't make it up. The ravens. This is it, you see. The ravens symbolize everything, something. Symbolize everything, the raven. The IBR. Did you watch Neil McCoy Ward today? No, I didn't. I like Neil. I like Neil McCoy. Because he says it as it is. I've been watching him going around, you know, seeing him in Birmingham. He said, oh, I'm not going down there. It's shocking, this country, the way it is. And he's exposing it all. But I didn't watch him. You know, I always... the IBR, if only we had a king with half as many brain cells as a raven. Look, the king of Saudi, you know, that he had a fella by the name of Khashoggi chopped up him, and nothing was done. Nothing. They were his orders. He has him chopped up in a Saudi embassy in Egypt, in Turkey. Nothing was done. You can't do it. You can't say anything. You can't do anything. Because these people are the elite. Now, there's Georgia Maloney. And believe it or not, she's going on the ICI list, International Court list. They want her to go on that list. Now, she's saying, oh, this is all corrupt and everything. You know, she's saying, Georgia Maloney, she's saying, hang on a minute, this is corrupt. No, I shouldn't be on that list. Yes, she was screaming and shouting for Putin to be on the list. And what was Putin's thing? It wasn't war crimes. It was kidnapping 400, 600 kids. Kidnapping him, Putin. And what he was doing, he was taking all the kids from the Donbass, you know, as many kids who wanted to go. His parents said, yeah, into Russia. And they went to a camp to carry on with their education. And loads of them are back anyway now because it's safe now. Away from the Azovs, away from the UK Kiev regime, I'll just say that. But he was brought, you know, they wanted something now. We can get him on for kidnapping. Yeah, what great idea, huh? Oh, fantastic idea. Oh, who thought that up? Von der Leyen. Oh, go away. I said, great leader. Great leader, this Ursula. You'd ever known the fucking likes. And that she says to the IBR about the ravens, brain cells, and King Charles. So you see the way everything changes. I got a great, you know, Kaya Kallas. All that she goes on about every single day is Russia. She's doing no diplomatic work, and that's what she's there. Heads of the diplomatic corps of the EU. Another failed politician, excuse me. Another failed politician. I was like, I get the itch now. Okay, every time I come in here. But anyway, you get the likes of Kaya Callas, and all she's saying is Russia. But she's getting on people's nerves now in the EU. And they're actually saying she wakes up thinking of Russia and goes to bed thinking of Russia. And during the meantime, during the daytime, morning, afternoon, evening, she just talks Russia. Russia this and Russia that. Nothing else. She's not doing any diplomatic work. I like that. Kid napping. It's in the words. Yes. Good one. I like that. But I've seen loads of things, footage of these kids. Look, these kids, you know, they were being taught, the sports, you know, from that gymnast, a brilliant gymnast, those Russians, you know. Football, playing the piano, playing the violin, playing the cello, playing everything in the music, but also doing ordinary schoolwork, the likes of physics. These are kids. Physics. And they're enjoying themselves. They're well fed. The camp is absolutely brilliant. You know, when I say a camp, it's like Butlins or whatever, a holiday camp, and that's where they were kept. But teachers, by the way, you know, proper teachers, good teachers, who went to teach them. You know, from teachers who taught music to teachers who taught arithmetic, maths, physics, English, well, Russian. Because what they were told, the Donbass kids, you're not supposed to speak Russian now. You're not supposed to read about Chekhov or Tolstoy. Or you're not to learn the music of Tchaikovsky, Rimsky-Korsakov, or any of them. You're not supposed to do that. Which was shocking. In other words, get rid of the Russian culture, get rid of the Russian language. You're not supposed to go to the Russian Orthodox Church either, because they've been desecrated by Kiev regime, and nothing gets mentioned of that, which is absolutely shocking. Shocking. And what have you got in this country? I mentioned, didn't I, about if I had a vision when I was 18 and looking at what's happening today. And I said, didn't I, you know, this is George, this is Orwellian, this will be never happening. Ever. If I was 18 looking into the future, stepping foot into today, it'll never happen. And that's the sad indictment again. Because it's happening before our very eyes. Who would have thought, let's just take 10 years ago, we knew about, you know, the Palestinians, for example. We knew about the Israelis and what they were doing, taking pot shots, snipers at kids and, you know, anyone else, killing them, snipers, shooting them. And I mentioned this a few weeks ago. Remember the nurse when she ran up and she was waving a white flag or whatever it was, handkerchief, but it was white nevertheless. And there was a kids, they deliberately, these two snipers, wounded this kid in the leg, and they ran over this lady, this girl, 21 years of age, waving a nurse. And there was an audio between the two of them. And he said, "Hey, can I do it? Oh, come on, let me do it." "Oh, yeah, all right, then you do it." And he sniped her through the head, blew her head off. And they were laughing about it. They weren't held accountable. So you see, what I'm saying is we knew all about these things, but when we look back at the Holocaust in the Second World War, what happened to the Jews then? Not only Jews, and this is where people, just think they were Jews. No, they weren't. There was Russians, there was gypsies, there was disabled, there was, and I'm talking, these are not Jews, by the way. There were dissidents. They were going in as well. And no one ever mentions them. Writers. No one ever mentions them going into these concentration camps and going into the gas chambers, or just being lined up and shot and going in ditches. You don't hear of that. All you hear is about 6 million Jews. Well, during that 6 million, there was a couple of million of these other people. But anyway, we always thought that we'll never see that again. We'll never see that again. And yet we're witnessing it today in real time. And people are denying it. The quiet one, just the name David Cole. Yeah, I know a couple of David Coles, Why? Can you elaborate, please? Quiet, please. The quiet one. I do know a couple of David Cole. I was at the college with one, actually. A David Cole. Unless it's you're talking about a politician or somebody. I just don't know. It's a very common name. David Cole. If you can elaborate, please, quiet one. Thank you. So you see the way things go on. College. Was that the dinosaur there? She can get you. Yeah, good. They were roaming around. As I said, I was a can lad for the pyramids. I built the pyramids. That's how old I am. Dinosaur era. Cheeky get. It shows you, though, the way we look, the way you and I look. And as I mentioned, we never ever thought that we would in real time, with our own eyes, look at a Holocaust going on, a genocide. Medieval. What are you like, Callum? Hi, Frank, did you ever mention the film Snake Eyes? I don't know whether I'm doing a film TV review tomorrow, and there's a couple of films I want you to watch, and Snake Eyes was one of them because it's like one of those films. It's yeah, about Charles Kirkland being assassinated. Brilliant film, absolutely brilliant, and it's so coincidental. It's just like The Simpsons, isn't it? When they were like predicting things unbeknownst to them at the time. And yet, look what they predicted. I don't think the quiet one's getting out, getting back to me, unfortunately. Yeah, yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I liked Phil Donahue, by the way. Check out David Cole on the USD Time talk show in the late 80s, Phil Donahue show. He made some allegedly controversial remarks about a certain incident. Go away. Ooh, I'll have a look at that. I like Phil Donahue, and he was a lambasted because he was saying the truth. It's like I like a fella by the name of Jimmy Dore, and I thought he was coming over this September, and I was doing my pod, and my mate there, Stephen Mulholland, said it just came up and put us up, and said I seen Jimmy Dore last night along the comedy club. Couldn't believe it. I don't live far from the comedy club. And I went mad because I was looking forward to coming, but I thought it was September. Fuming. And I even went on a show and I put in a comment, a live show. I said, I only live a couple of 100 yards away from you, and I didn't know that you were appearing. I thought you were coming over in September. And he actually, well, his wife, Steph, read it out. And he meant, he replied to it. And the quiet one, you're very right about the ongoing genocide happening in our lifetime. But it is, and no one, and people are denying it. David Lammy, when he was at the conference here, I can't walk, unfortunately, so I was just watching the TV, and he was this cracking young reporter. I forget what, it's one of these online TV news things. And he put the microphone right in his gob and went like that. Will you say genocide is happening in Gaza? And Lammy was, like denying it. Lammy, a complete and utter fucking idiot. Lammy, how was he there as a politician? Fucking hell, you can't make these things up. Yeah, Ed Sneakhouse predicted the Charlie Kirk's death. Yeah. Got a some cracking ones for you tomorrow to look at. And I mean it. Really good. The quiet one says, truth is a lion. It doesn't need to protect. See, Mark Twain. No, it wasn't Mark Twain. It was George Orwell. He said, no matter how the truth is denied, the truth will always exist. The truth will always exist. I'll have a look at that. You know, I'll research that on YouTube. Quiet one. You know the Phil Zonito show, and that David Cole. I thought you meant a fella. I thought you honestly, because people have not being funny, but funny names. And I knew a David Cole, who was at college, a lovely fella, by the way. And he did physics. And I thought he was going to say, but David, died. And I would have been shocked. But no, smashing and made up with that. I'll have a look. Phil Donahue was great. Phil Donahue, back in the 80s, back in the 70s as well. Definitely have a go with that. Thank you for that, quiet one. And David Cole is Jewish. Yeah, all the Jews are not like Netanyahu or Smotrich. That Smotrich is, what a horrible man he is. But all Jews are not like that. What's suppressed as well and never shown on the Western media are the groups of Jews around Israel demanding that this must stop and stop committing atrocities. Don't say that. And stay to the quiet one. I'll have to do the research for that as well. That's great, that. That's great, that. You know, if anyone else has got anything. And the supporters of genocide. I like the way you put that, by the way. Are either bribed or blackmailed. Do you know what? It's like I said last night, I think it was last night on my pod. I think it was. And I said about Trump. Did I say it? Or did I say it privately? I don't know now. And I think, look, these Epstein files, they're saying that he was a Mossad agent, Epstein himself. And he was infiltrating everything and inviting them all into his private island. Politicians, people high up. Anyway, when he died, the Epstein files were got hold of. Now, there's loads of things that could get redacted. And there's where it is. This is just my opinion. This is just my opinion. This is just my opinion, by the way. And what it is when he came in, when he was in campaigning for peace, I'm talking about the orange man here, Trump. When he was campaigning for peace and, MAGA, make America great again, nothing is going, I'm going to have peace and blah, 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 blah. And people, but I believed him. I was made up. I said, well, yeah, I'll get him in, let him stop all this fucking war and everything else. So anyway, he gets in. The first thing he said, this war wouldn't have started if I was been president, but he's fucking staying it today as well. That's all he ever keeps saying. That's all he keeps saying. If I would have been president, why didn't he just say, well, okay, yeah, stop it now. No arms to Ukraine. Getting all these, NATO, get them out of it. Because remember when he said, I'm going to disband NATO, he said that. That was a promise as well. Give it and stop giving all the satellite images to Kiev. Stop giving them arms. Just dragging everyone back. Everyone. He promised that. Never did. Never did, and it's just still escalating. Now, here's where the crux comes in. There's the crux of it. And when he promised the Epstein files would be, as I said, it would have been heavily redacted. So you would have seen very big prominent names redacted from it. You know that when you see like these files and all of a sudden you just see those big black marks through it, you just see a couple of words. That's all you see. Well, I think he knows that his name is being redacted. However, Mossad have got a list as well of a file with names on, and he's being blackmailed. That's what I think. That's what I think anyway. But do you agree? I don't know. And he actually says, anyone remember Captain Pug was masturbating things and running the cabin boy for fuck's sake? When do we wake up? I was talking about that last night on my podcast. Actually, I was talking about that exact same thing. I can't make these things up. And the quiet one says, I've only just found your channel. By the way, when I was looking for Red supporters on YouTube, I do football. I do a watch along and things like that. The quiet one. But with no football, I'm not doing one until either, it'll be a pre-match one, either next Tuesday, or Thursday, because I do football podcasts. And then, as I said, I do a watch along. I do a little pre-match for 3/4 of an hour, do the watch along, and then a post-match. That's what I'm a Red, you see. That's just a Red. And I do a lot of swearing, as they say. Okay, there it's me. On the podcast. Do you know about the Khazarians? It depends. The Khazarians, it depends how far you go back. To be honest, quiet one. It depends. It's like saying, like Iran, for example. And I'll say to you, when was the last time Iran invaded a country? And you turn around and say, well, they've never invaded anyone for 2,000 years. Yet you're getting the people, like politicians saying, look what they're doing to Israel, they're sending over rockets. You go, hang on a minute. Isn't Israel sending over rockets to them? Fucking ridiculous. The Orangeman was bailed out in '88 by the Red Shields. And actually to the quiet man. The family with a red shield, the Bear family with a red shield. And the IBR to the quiet. It amazes me how stupid the people are in falling for the Trump psyop. And the quiet says, Mossad motto, by the way of deception, thou shalt do war. You know, who the Mossad is involved with is MI6 and the CIA. You know that. It's those three. And MI6 is one of the worst for infiltrating anyone. They were there at the coup d'etat in Kiev in 2014, along with the CIA and Mossad. And Victoria Nuland, I ask people, do you know Victoria Nuland, if they're going on about Russia and Ukraine? And if they say no, they know nothing, I tell them that. I say, well, you know nothing, I'm not going to talk about it. Not going to talk about it because all as you're doing is looking at the BBC, ITV, reading the Daily Express or whatever, which is a load of nonsense, which is a load of propaganda, Western narrative. Someone called me a Putin puppet. No, I'm not. I balance things out. I've known about Ukraine. I go back to when the wall came down, 1989. Right, 1989, 90. And then when the Americans turned around to Gorbachev and said, Gorbachev said, listen, we don't want any of this NATO encroaching eastward towards us. The Americans went, no chance. And when they started encroaching, the Russians came out and said, hang on a minute. You said that you weren't going to encroach. You said it to Mikhail Gorbachev. And the answer to that was, well, there wasn't an agreement signed on paper. That's how bad this is. And that's the first time I've interacted with your show and puts a thumbs up. Thank you. You're getting me here, aren't you? I used to go to a match when I was that big. You can't do it now. My granddaughter, who's 13, wanted to go to the game, and her mother couldn't go. My daughter, she couldn't bring her. And because there was one ticket, and she said, can I go, Mum? And she said, no. No, she's 13. Now, I was going when I was 6 and 7. used to go in the boys' pen. And me and my little mate, a fellow by the name of Peter Bassino, we used to come out of the boys' pen. You're asking about Billy Little. And we used to come out of the boys' pen, go into the cop, by the throats. And fellas used to sit us on the, the crush bars. Used to be sitting there like that. And I had a pair of wellies on. And when you had a pair of wellies on, you'd always turn them down to look at. So we had them turned down. Billy Little, it's a fucking shot to come to. And it was right in line. And I just went back. And I was underneath the crush bar, swinging. The fella picked me up. He said, "You're all right?" I went, "Yeah." Billy Little. Actually seen Billy Little. In '66, I actually seen Pele play. Garincha play. Eusebio play. The big Russian goalkeeper, the Cat, the best goalkeeper in the world ever, even today, was Lev Yashin. Seeing him play at Goodison Park. Me and me mates. That's how old I am. So I did see him quite well. But I never, that's what I mean, when we were in the second division, me and my little mates used to go to the match. When we were in the second division. And I always remember, it was only last week or the week before, and Shankly came out with that quote, "If you can't support us when we lose or draw, don't support us when we win." And I thought that was a shocking quote because people take it out of context. That's like control. That's the control of you or me if we criticise. And I went, hang on. So this fella put something up and I fucking criticised Slot for the way we were playing for before the 3 games as well, because we were very, very lucky against the 10 man, Newcastle. Very lucky to beat them. And we were outplayed by them, but we were lucky. And I said that. And you know what I was fucking told? Go and support another fucking team. Look what Shankly said. I was fucking here before Shankly. I was Phil Taylor was our manager. Don't get me wrong about the Shanks. Love Shanks. Love them to death. But if I've got a fucking right, I have a right to criticise. And I have a right to criticise fucking Slot. I criticised Shankly against Watford when he was playing the likes of Ian St. John and Ron Yates. They were all past the sell-by date. St. John became a friend of mine, by the way. And I criticised him. I criticised Bob Paisley, the greatest manager ever. I criticised Kenny, and I can fucking go and get you a picture now and show me and Kenny. I criticised him. And I can't fucking criticise this fella. Fuck off. I criticised Klopp. Klopp was the greatest since, they say Shankly, I say he's the greatest since Pace. If he would have got the money, he would have emulated Bob, said Bob. And yes, I criticised him as well on games. And yeah, you can't criticise this fucking fella. Fuck off. Not having that. If I want to fucking criticise Slot, I'll fucking criticise him. And no one's going to tell me any different. Tell me to fucking go support another club. Fuck off. See, you've got me swearing now. Khazarians changed their names. Anyone know Tom Jones? That's what I mean. You know, it goes, it does go back. Are you talking about Tom Jones, the fucking bad singer, the Welsh fella? The fella who carried on with everyone. Don't like Tom Jones. He's fucking, he's an arsehole, to be honest. Engelbert Humperdinck, real name, Jerry Dorsey. Jerry Dorsey, his name was. Good singer, though. Al Humperdinck. But he's American now. Have you heard him? Ah, get out of here. Fuck off, Engie. Jerry. Listen, we know what you mean. The quiet man. In 1953, the elected leader of Iran, Mohammad Mossadegh, was overthrown by the CIA and MI6, and they installed the Shah. Yes. And they've got his son right now to take over. Just like they have this fucking, this girl, this fucking Madigan, take over the Venezuela. Just like they had that fucking Poroshenko to take over the first puppets of Kiev, Ukraine, after they overthrew a legitimate government who most of the fucking Ukrainians voted in. And that was the last election. Shocking what they did, the Americans, and MI6 and CIA and Mossad. Shocking. To overthrow a legitimate government, to put a puppet in, to try and take on the Russians, and it backfired. It backfired. I love Matt Letticer, most loyal team player of any club. Matt Letticer, Matt Letticer, brilliant. He got the sack, didn't he, for speaking his mind? Off Sky. I don't fucking Sky, like Rupert Murdoch's lot. No one's above criticism when it's our own house. It comes from a place of love, says the... Yes, of course it does. The passion. The fucking saying, oh, yeah, we're top of the fucking league. What more do you want? You're the money, you. Fuck off. Where are we now? And you know, oh, we're only a point behind the league. We could have been 6 fucking points ahead of them. Fucking dick. Fucking hell. Let's see how we fucking are in a few weeks too. Check out Tom Jones's real name. Tom Jones, do you know? There'll be some fucking Welsh thing, won't there? Be some Welsh thing. if you won't join me tomorrow morning, I might do a show, you see, and get my hair cut. And I've got to sort things out as well. But just in case I don't do one, have a look. And bloody hell, it's Nicolas Cage again. Nick Cage again. That's a cracking film. And it's called Pay the Ghost. It's a really good film. And, you know, for you lads, like Achi Achi and The Quiet One, I do a film and TV review, you see. And I keep telling people, I don't think they watch like these two TV series. One goes back, and it's a cracking series. And you can get it on Netflix or just stream it, whatever you've got. And it's called Spotless. It's an Anglo-French thing, but it's really good. It's about a team, you know, a little team that goes out and cleans up, you know, where murders happen, you know, and or suicides or whatever. That's what they do. They go out and clean it up. Watch it, crack it. And it's only a short series because I don't like series 1 and 2 and 63 and all this. I don't like all that. This is about 8 to 10 things. I watched it back to back. Really good. And the other one is absolutely brilliant. And it stars Jason Bateman. And it's called The Outsider. Crack it. They're the two series I strongly recommend. And I keep saying to people, have you watched it yet? Can't be bothered, I don't think. Oh, it's only a short series as well. And I want, oh yeah, and another one with Bryan Cranston, the first series, called Your Honor. Your Honor. He's a judge. 3 series. Watch it. And watch Pay the Ghost. Film. Great. But The Outsider is absolutely brilliant. Spotless, I'll check it out. Thanks. Thanks, Quiet Man. Thank you. At least someone says I'll check it out. And that she says, I can remember The Prisoner. Yeah. Number 6, yeah. That's been on, hasn't it? You know, YouTube. Some of them, you can catch some of them. I'm number 6. I'm not a number. Patrick McGowan. Yeah. He used to be in a cracking television series before The Prisoner, you know. And it was called Danger Man. And The Prisoner, was set in 2020, yeah. And you know all the balustrade around Port Merion where it was actually filmed? The balustrade came off the Sailors' Home here in Liverpool. It's good, that Quiet One. And that she says, coming soon near you. Yeah. Yeah, they actually remembers Danger Man. And the Thumbs Up's cracking series. Great series. He was good, Patrick McGowan, but he fucking ruined himself when he went over to America. Because you'd always get an Englishman or Brit, whatever, playing a baddie. Always play. I always remember Jeremy Irons, and he was saying about one of our Jeremy Irons is a great actor. And he said he was just in an interview, and he said, well, you can either go over and ruin yourself or be like Alan Rickman and play a bad, what he never said a bad guy. Oh, what did he call him? Well, anyway, just play a baddie in that Bruce Willis franchise, Die Hard. He said, just play one of them and come back. That's what he said. And what did Jeremy Irons ended up there? He was in there. He plays a baddie. The Die Hard franchise. They always have the English playing bad people. You've only got to look at Anthony Hopkins, the Welsh wizard. And he has him playing Hannibal Lecter. But who could play Hannibal Lecter better than Anthony Hopkins? Great actor. Man in a Suitcase, Richard Bradford. We used to call him Man in a Suitland. Man in a Suitland, Richard Bradford. And he went back to States. You never heard of him? He was always moody, wasn't he? Always moody, Richard Bradford. Oh, the Man in a Suitcase. He was in Hell Drivers along with William Hartnell and Sean Connery. Yeah, he was. He was, indeed. William Hartnell. And Stanley Baker. Stanley Baker was Danger Man as well. Yeah, William Hartnell. I always remember William Hartnell. He always played like a sergeant, didn't he, or a copper, or sergeant in the army or a copper. And he played a baddie in one, and I'll never forget it. And the police are encroaching him and they're saying, "Come out, we've got you surrounded." And he went, "So you think you got me, eh?" Never forget that little line. "So you think you got me, eh?" Tusker, I never understood the prison. Do you know what it was? What it was, Tusker, when you're watching it and whatever. But what it was he resigned. He was a top agent, intelligence, or like MI6, MI5. And he went, he could be going over, giving our secrets away and everything else. And it wasn't until the end that you found out who number one was, because you always had number two. And it just told you everything what the prisoner was all about. Because number one, and you see it going, was a nuclear warhead. So you don't know what happened after that. Maybe we're all dead. There's Patrick McGowan was in Escape to Hell. Yes, with Clint. Was a baddie in that. He was, and he was good in it as well, wasn't he? He was the warden. the way he used to look at him, very stoic. And Clint, he was Clint. He plays a fella by the name of Frank Mitchell, and they escaped. I'm not giving anything away because everybody's seeing it, and they don't know whether they drowned or they got to freedom. They got to freedom. And they tried to say a few months ago that they got the DNA. What a load of bollocks that is. Because the Americans don't like anyone getting the better of them. So they said, I'll just fucking say we got, they died, they drowned or whatever. Load of bollocks. Never believe what Americans tell you. Any of them. Goes on that pack. Shows a couple of your things. We keep showing them every week, by the way. Your picture, fantastic picture. That one of the arch pack. Thank you. That was brilliant. You know, the night shot, looking up. Chinese arch, that is, people. And actually says, Stanley Baker, good actor, William Hartnell, another Doctor Who, yes. He was the first. And you look at the doctors, the likes of Patrick Troughton, great actor, great stalwart actor. But my favourite Doctor Who was our own Tom Baker. Have you seen him now? Fucking hell, he's unrecognisable. And he's still alive. But Tom Baker was the best Doctor Who. The Quiet says, to the Toscana. Didn't understand it, you see. That is the prisoner. And actually to the Quiet one, weren't Diana Dawes in that as well? Do you mean L drivers? Do you know what? Diana Dawes was a great actress, you know. And she should have won an Oscar for... she plays a lady, you know, well, a prisoner who was about to be chopped. And I think it was loosely based on Ruth Ellis. And she was fantastic because all you seen Diana then was all, you know, glamorous and, you know what I mean. And when she played this prisoner, no makeup on her hair, you know, just ordinary. Oh, she was fantastic. Great actress. And she should have won an Oscar. I always remember it, I think it was a Barry, forget his name. You know, I used to watch him on not Parkinson on his fucking thing, I never liked him. And he said she should have won an Oscar for that. So it wasn't the only one. Did I go off then? And the Quiet to actually, I can't remember, possibly in the fight scene in the club. And the Quiet to, and Tom Baker for me. Yeah, nice one. Tom's a proper red, says that. Yeah, he is. He is. I always remember I think this fella's brilliant. And if you ever see him in Fargo, watch it. Him and that Freeman lad, you know, the Martin Freeman, the British actor. In Fargo, watch it. It's fucking brilliant. The Coen brothers. It's absolutely brilliant. And that's Billy Bob Thornton. And what had happened was, I got told that he was appearing at the Cavern because his wife at the time was Angelina Jolie, and she was filming over in Wales, you know, the Tomb Raider thing. And anyway, I went, so I'll go to see it. And Liverpool were playing that night, but I wanted to go and see him because it's an only chance. He was playing at the Cavern pub. Yeah, the pub, not the club, pub. And I goes down to see him, and he hears him playing 2 songs, and he finished. He said, "Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going up now to Anfield to watch Liverpool Football Club. Bye." Fucked up. I'm standing there like that. I want to go. Missed the match. Forget who it was against. Like, but him and Angelina went the match. Became Liverpool supporters. And Steve, the old mate, says, I remember watching Where Eagles Dare in the Abbey Cinema in Wavertree. The opening scene on a big screen was amazing. I could imagine that scene now in HD. Brilliant. The plane. Good film, that, by the way. With the Burton and Clint. Burton and Clint. Burton and Clint. And the baddie was Patrick Wyman. And there was a fella in it playing the gym, and you know, every time you see this fella, and you'll know what I mean when I do this. You had that lift down there, didn't it? Darren Nesbitt. Actually, I met John Pertwee. He wasn't Wurzel Gummidge at the time. Hello, Miss Daisy. Fucking Wurzel Gummidge. That's just things we have to watch. Fucking hell. As the Steve says, another of my favourite films is Towering Inferno with Steve McQueen, Paul Newman, Faye Dunaway, and Fred Astaire. Do you know I didn't, you know, Mr. Cool, Steve, he was a fucking prick him in real life, you know that, don't you? Horrible him in real life. But that was, you know, it was a mega cast, wasn't it? Mega cast. Steve. And it was a good film. It was a good action thing. But I never liked that Steve McQueen. He was always trying to steal scenes off everybody in every film he made, from The Blob right up to The Hunter, his last film in 1980. But he was horrible. I knew he was horrible to women. I don't like that. I don't like anyone being horrible to women. I really don't. Yeah, Fred Astaire. He was the most elegant of all dancers in. Brilliant. Him and Ginger Rogers. Hiya, Ginge. So try and watch Pay the Ghost If you're doing nothing now, stream it, pay the ghost. You get it on YouTube, pay the ghost. Nick Cage. It's a really good film. Well, I think so anyway. It's no surprise actors and actresses' marriages never last because who they really are when they spend most of their time pretending to be other people. That's a cracker. That's a cracker. But then again, you do have people who last right through. If you ever remember a French actor by the name of Charles Boyer, and he was just married to the one wife right through, and she died. 3 days later, he died of a broken heart. Charles Boyer. And I'll tell you who else. Richard Widmer. He was married to the one lady throughout his life. Never mess with other women or anything. Not like fucking McQueen. So marriages do last. Fortunately. Jason King, Department X, got caught in a toilet like Charlie Layton. Yeah, Jason King. Yeah. Peter Wingard, his name was. Peter Wingard. And he was found in the toilets. And Hugh Grant, but he was with a girl. She was doing a Monica Lewinsky on him. And these couples were like, hey, give a go. And that was the end of him and that Elizabeth Early one. Similar thing happened to Peter the Cush. Did it? Never knew that. Oh, yeah. I meant he never got over the death of his wife and passed away. Yeah, that's right. No, that's right. Peter the Cush. He was married for years. So I just want a quick answer, really, right now, because I have to finish, unfortunately. Fucking elbow. I've got to take tablets for my elbow, believe it or not. Right, so let me know if you want me to do a film and TV review tomorrow morning. Up to you. If you say no, I won't do one. If you say yeah, I'll do one. Because that's all we seem to be talking about. Fucking films and TV. Looks like you don't. Quiet. I've got work tomorrow. Well, I hope you enjoyed it anyway, Quiet, and Achi tonight. You know, because that's what I do. I do. Funny enough, I do these fucking things. Where am I? Here. That's why it's conspiracies and theories. But it's hard hitting, when they're doing the social issues, the likes of Ukraine and things. It's hard hitting. And actually says, Richard Widmark, a very loyal man. Yes, he was. He was. Talk about these. So anyway, people, I've just got to thank you for, for keeping me company tonight, because I have great people. You're new, the quiet, and actually you're two new quiet. You're two new ones to me. But we have a great little group of people, and we do everything. I'll do a history of, about Liverpool on a Monday. And it's not just Liverpool, it's international and international as well. So it's the history of Liverpool. And also on a Wednesday, I do the history of literature, believe it or not. And the history of literature will blow your mind. And I'm talking about the likes of from Shakespeare up to Dickens and William Blake, a great poet. Now you might think, just listen in one night. That's on a Wednesday evening. And there's no football this week, so you'll be able to tune in. Unless you watch fucking England, I don't. I follow the Azzurri, Italia, Calcio. The quiet one. We've covered a wide range of subjects. It's a good crack. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Quiet. And they actually enjoyed the show. Thank you. And a thumbs up. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. But I've got to take these tablets for this. Little elbow. Killing me. But the history of literature, just have a tune in on a Wednesday. Have a tune in on Monday for see when Liverpool play. If Liverpool are playing on a Monday, I'll just change it to a Tuesday. The history show. Vice versa with the Champions League, whatever, could be a Wednesday. So I'll just change it to the Thursday, the history of literature. Surprising, our literature going back, it applies to today. It's like what Shakespeare said. Hell is empty. All the devils are here. Think about that. And also, what he said, what a terrible era we live in, while idiots govern the blind. Applies today. While idiots govern the blind. Who are the blind? Us. Who are the idiots? These fucking lads in power. Actually, Friday morning matinee, champion. Yeah, champion. Champion. Frankie Lane sang that. The Jezebel fella. And Rebel the dog and Lassie up next. Yeah. I used to go to the Saturday matinee down Scotty Road, where I came from, called the Gaiety. And we used to watch all that. Up along Cassidy. Tell you what else used to be on as well, the Bowery Boys. Do you ever remember them? Yeah, what's yeah, get down to the mic. But we used to run home, smacking our bums as though we were on a horse. We were only, 18, 19 at the time. And he actually says, take care, all. Thank you. So listen, I'll have to go, honestly. I've got to take these tabs. I'm in terrible pain. If you join me tomorrow morning, if I'm doing it, that's great. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to finish. And to my lovely ladies, Italian ladies, ci vediamo. Mattina. Dickens lived in Portsmouth. Yeah, he was born in Portsmouth. I talk about Dickens on the history thing. Not the history, yet the history of literature. He's very prominent. Charles Dickens. Love Liverpool. I stood on the same stage as him. As he was reading out his penny readings, I stood on the same stage giving speeches, lectures. Night all, says the quiet. Listen, I've got to go, honestly, and hopefully I'll see you in the morning. If not, I'll see you Monday night. Ciao. Ciao. Buonanotte.